Hmm. You need the texts. वो text आप यहाँ से ले लीजिएगा. So we are engaging in Tara Puja after quite some time. We have some people we are remembering for this puja, dedicating for their well-being. Eastern Sky, who is a young person who is in hospital, and for his mother, Holly. We're dedicating for all the people at Tushita and Tushita volunteers, everyone who helps the center for their well-being, their health, happiness, since centers depend upon volunteers and so forth. We're dedicating for Chandra Malhotra, who passed away recently. Chandra Prabha, Pradeepji's mother-in-law, who is sick and in hospital. Sumit Prasad, for his upcoming kidney removal and transplant. We also, for all the Dharma centers in India to be successful, especially in India, but of course all over the world. My own brother, Rohan, and his family in Israel. For Mrs. Lata Sharma, who passed away. And I've been given these names, Darshan Bajaj, Ritu Bajaj, Neelam Kalia, Praveen Kalia, Vinu Khatri, Madhuri Mishra, Rigzin Tamche, Meena Gandhi, and Sewang Thundup. So all these beings are just a microcosm, a tiny fraction of the 8 billion human mother sentient beings, which itself is a tiny fraction of all the other sentient beings, animals, insects, fish, etc., etc. And then all the hungry ghost beings, all the hell beings, etc., the beings in the upper realms who are stuck in their trances, their meditative trances and so forth, and their very subtle enjoyments, pleasures, caught in that for eons, some of them. So for everybody, we are practicing. And as Lama Zopa Rinpoche would constantly remind us, our enlightenment depends upon each and every sentient being. We are dependent on each and every mother sentient being for our enlightenment. We cannot reject even one. So I'm going to actually work from the short sadhana, which we have online, because it's, I think it's has the virtue of brevity, in parts anyway. And because many people might be having that, people who may, yeah, okay. So please, let's generate a motivation together. Strong motivation. What we've been looking at recently in the Lamrim is precious human life and death and impermanence. So we could remember that we have this extraordinary form, this human body and mind, and we really don't know how long it's going to be with us. So while we have it, may we use it well to fulfill the 3 great purposes of happiness in the future life, liberation from the appalling, long-lasting suffering of samsara, and also the great purpose of full enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. Recognizing that all this is totally possible because we have the Buddha nature. However, miserable and small we think we are right now, spiritually speaking, we all have the potential to become just like Tara, which is why we do this practice. Wouldn't do the practice if wouldn't make any sense if there was no chance for us to also become like Aryatara, like the Buddha. So we can also have a sense of rejoicing that how wonderful it is that we have this opportunity to practice together, which is said to be, at least in our case, much, much more powerful than just practicing alone. Okay, so then we start with this glance meditation on the graduated path on the Lamrim, so that it becomes more and more something familiar to our mind. And it is said that even if we don't achieve realizations of it in this life, by constantly reminding ourselves of it, it plants the seeds for us to connect with it and to be more familiar and to be able to practice it in future lives. So it's good to have this kind of glance practice as much as possible. You can visualize our Guru. We have one, Aryatara, in space in front of us, and surrounded we ourselves by all sentient beings, especially perhaps people we are praying for, but to include, imagine that all the beings are here with us. And then remembering the qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, the unsurpassable qualities, and especially the fact that the actual Dharma is the actual antidote to our misery, to our wandering in samsara. I take refuge in the Holy Guru, essence of all the Buddhas, original grantor of all holy teachings, and the Lord of all supreme beings. Please, Guru Buddhas, bestow on me the ability to unify my mind with the Dharma and to be successful in practicing Dharma in order to achieve the graduated path to enlightenment. May no hindrances occur while achieving this path. Then the prayer of the practitioner of the lower capacity, small capacity, Please bless me to realize I've received a perfect human rebirth, which is highly meaningful and for many reasons difficult to obtain, but perishable, transient, fragile, decaying in the shortest moment because of its changeable nature. Thus, my death is definite, but its actual time is most indefinite. And after death, I'm far more likely to be reborn in the lower suffering realms, having created infinitely more negative than positive karma, and in this and all previous lifetimes. Please bless me to comprehend how incredibly unendurable is the suffering of the lower realms, so that I might take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha with all my heart and realize the evolution of cause and effect in all its profundity, so that I might perform only virtuous actions, in other words, those that have as their result happiness, and abandon all negative creations. Then the prayer of the practitioner of the middling capacity, the medium capacity person. By practicing in this way, as mentioned above, I will be, or can be, let's say, reborn in the upper realms, but still will have to experience unlimited samsaric suffering because of uncontrolled delusion and karma. Uncontrolled delusion and karma. Matlab, the mind still wanders and creates all kind of hallucinations if it is still under the control of the self-grasping ignorance and so forth. Please bless me to therefore realize fully the evolution of samsara. You know, how samsara works, what it is. From uncontrolled rebirth to death to rebirth, and to follow day and night the three higher trainings of the path: higher conduct, meaning higher conduct, ethical conduct; higher concentration; and higher wisdom, which are the main methods to release me from samsara. So if one were to practice 3 very, very, very well, then one could attain freedom from samsaric suffering completely, attain the state of an arhat, and after death no longer have to be reborn in any kind of suffering situation at all. However, this is not the highest we can aim for. Next comes the prayer of the practitioner of the highest capability, the path of the great beings. Since, each sentient being here means beings who are not yet enlightened. Do you have the texts, all of them? Do you have the Tara text with you, sir? Can you give that gentleman? You have. As each sentient being has been my mother, and as most of them are in extreme suffering, please bless me to bring success to everyone by renouncing just my own perfect self-happiness and practicing the bodhisattva deeds of the 6 perfections with a bodhisattva's mind of exchanging oneself with others on the basis of equanimity. So to practice, giving and ethics and giving ethics, effort, patience, concentration, and wisdom. Yeah, we practice those with the motivation to become a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. And we do this on the basis of having this attitude of being ready to exchange one's own happiness for the suffering of others, willing to take on the suffering of others, happy to create the causes of happiness for them, give them our happiness. All of this on the basis of seeing how all beings are equal in wanting happiness, not wanting sorrow, and in seeing how my division of people into friends, enemies, and strangers is very limited, very limited way of perceiving reality, and so forth. If I do this, then I shall have no sorrow in experiencing the samsaric suffering of all other sentient beings, for no matter how long, since I will have trained my mind in this path. So here, the extraordinary mind of the bodhisattva, extraordinary mind. Coming back again and again, experiencing suffering for the sake of others. And for the bodhisattva, it's not a big deal. Doesn't create deluded suffering. Even this is not the highest path we can aspire for. Then there's the Vajrayana path. And actually, this is a Vajrayana practice. We'll be doing a very simple one. Comes within Vajrayana. So what is that? Please bless me to follow the quick Vajrayana teachings by feeling sentient beings suffering as very unimaginably unbearable for even the shortest moment as my own, and to achieve the attainment of Shakyamuni Buddha, Aryatara, immediately, at this very moment, by keeping my ordinations, the vows I've taken, and the instructions of the Guru with the best and highest care in life, for the sole purpose of enlightening all sentient beings. Just a brief moment to absorb some of that in the path of the low capacity, small capacity person to the path of the great being. Okay, so then the actual practice, we visualize, and if it's difficult, just keep it simple. Yeah, whatever we can manage. Some of us may be very much beginners, with a lot more that we can understand about Tara. One thing I should say here, especially for people who are new, we're not praying to Tara. You see, the Buddha Tara is something completely external to us. Tara is our own potential, a reflection of our own Buddha nature. And especially when we see her as kind of oneness with our own Guru, then we see how there's an identity, a meaningful connection between the Guru, the Buddha, in this case Tara, and our own mind. Some teachers go as far as to say that actually there's never been a separation between oneself and the Guru. It's only our own ignorance which perceives separation. But our Buddha nature, Tara's Buddha nature, the emptiness of her mind, our mind, and the Guru mind, all in one sense, they're the same. So we are not practicing this like in some spiritual practices as though it's some, we're a very sinful person praying to some all-powerful God or something. It's not like that at all. Tara is the manifestation of the perfection of our own wisdom and compassion, which we have in our own mind. So through this practice, we can help to activate that seed. So if you can, above the crown of your head, visualize a lotus or moon disk. Sitting upon that, Aryaptara, mother of all enlightened beings, who is oneness with my kind root Guru. If you have a Guru, if you don't have a Guru, it doesn't matter, just visualize Tara. In fact, that is much more simple for most of us right now. But if you have a Guru, then your Guru is in the full lotus position within a transparent bubble of beautiful rainbow-colored light. This whole visualization is in the nature of light. And in fact, for the purpose of this, we should imagine where we are right now, wherever we are, at Tushita or at home, that it is like a kind of a pure land. Everything is in the nature of purity. We don't fixate on any kind of imperfection or ugliness or any fault, if you like. So the beings around us also, we imagine they're also very pure beings. Like that is good to do. And it's not a complete fantasy because in essence, we are pure. We are pure beings, temporarily totally confused. So the Guru is pink in complexion, wears saffron robes and a pandit's hat. Right hand at the heart in the gesture of teaching dharma, a vajra, stem of a white lotus that blooms beside his right ear, and his left hand rests on his hip, holding a bell and the stem of another white lotus that blooms beside his left ear. So again, if you're keeping it simple, that's good. Just visualizing Tara, who is now being described. Tara is in female aspect, green in color, seated in a dancing posture, which means her right leg is outstretched, within a rainbow bubble of light. Again, beautiful rainbow bubble of light. Left leg is bent up, showing she's never separated from the mind of meditation. And her right leg is outstretched, indicating she is symbolizes that active form of compassion that is ready to leap into activity, compassionate activity for the sake of beings. Her left hand is at her heart in the mudra, symbolizing the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, holding the stem of a blue otapali flower. Her right hand is extended over her right knee in the mudra of granting sublime realizations. She's very beautifully adorned with jewel ornaments and scarves. And at her crown of her head is a white Om. At her throat is a red A syllable. And at her heart is a blue Hung. Also, at her heart is a lotus and a moon seat on which stands a radiant green seed syllable Tam. These are given in the online text. Also in both texts. Oma Hung and then the syllable Tam. So these help to partly to elicit we're able to focus, able to concentrate on those points later. rays of green light radiate in all directions from the seed syllable thumb. And what they are invoking, they are hooking, bringing back all the enlightened beings of the 10 directions who are then absorbed into Aryatara and become one. This is to show us that Aryatara is oneness. Her mind, her Dharmakaya is oneness with all of the Buddhas. She's not separate from the Buddhas. She is oneness with all the Buddhas. Then we make the heartfelt prayer for her to remain above our head until we receive enlightenment. Next is the refuge and bodhicitta, which we recite once in English and then twice in Tibetan for those who know it. It's auspicious to recite in Tibetan as well, because the great masters have been, of the lineage of the parampara, have been reciting like this for centuries. So it's considered auspicious. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merit from giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye achadan zaki janam la jancha badi dani kepsi chi dage jinzo gepe sonam ke dola penchir sangye doba yo sangye achadan zaki janam la jancha badi dani kepsi chi dage jinzo gepe sonam ke Dola penje sangye do bara sho. Then the very important 7-limb prayer, which some of you have been following in the morning, meditations with Nicola. So this is, of course, a whole practice in its own right, here included, to remind us. We did the practice very extensively. One could spend a good half hour or more just on this practice easily, is to accumulate positive energy and to purify misdeeds. So first, with our body, speech, and mind, we imagine prostrating to Aryatara mentally, prostrating to Tara and all the Buddhas in all 10 directions, if we wanted to make it very vast, you know. And we could imagine not just oneself, but all the sentient beings and one's own body duplicated countless times, all prostrating to Aryatara, whose oneness with our Guru. Then we make offerings, both real and imagined. So we do have some offerings on the altar, but they are very paltry and small compared with what we can offer mentally. So we offer the 8 kinds of offerings mentally, 2 kinds of waters, water for washing, water for drinking, and flowers, incense, light, perfumes, food, fruits of all kinds, and then music. So each one of those, of course, can be visualized and offered in a most magnificent, vast way. So however you would like to offer, you do that, imagining that the whole of space is filled with these offerings, and they're being offered to each and every Buddha in the aspect of Tara, oneness with your Guru. And of course, the way Rinpoche used to teach this, we can imagine not only making offerings to the Gurus, but to all the holy objects throughout space. And we're fortunate we live in India. We relatively close to the Mahabodhi temple of Bodh Gaya. So that is also a supreme object to visualize and imagine. One is making offerings to holy Bodh Gaya, seeing Bodh Gaya stupa as oneness with the mind of the Guru, of Tara, which is, of course, what stupas symbolize, the mind of the Buddha. Anyway, this is just a hint how one can do this kind of practice to all the stupas, the holy places, to the scriptures, to all the sanghas. There are so many extraordinary monasteries, nunneries in India, Himalayan belt, with extraordinarily beautiful statues, tankas, and dharma texts. So one can imagine one is offering to all of them. Yeah. Seeing them as oneness with the Guru, oneness with the mind of the Guru. Exquisite offerings. Imagine how you could just offer light, how beautifully that could be done. How extensively one could offer foods. You know, even the way food is arranged in five-star hotels, it could be far, far, far vaster than that. You know? Imagining it filling the whole of space. But if you want, you just keep it simple also. Whatever is useful for you. And imagine that these offerings are bringing supreme bliss to the holy mind of the Buddhas. Uncontaminated bliss. Meaning, when we, ordinary beings, experience pleasure, pleasurable objects, our mind, in a sense, freaks out, in the sense we love it, we get attached, we want more, and so forth. As Lama Yeshe used to say, we kind of lose control. But for the Buddhas, they can enjoy these kind of objects in a very pure way, which gives the highest bliss to the mind, but without any kind of contaminated attachment or grasping. So feel that these offerings are bringing uncontaminated great bliss to all the beings, to all the holy beings. Yeah. Okay, then after offering, we have the limb of confession. So we have done a lot of stupid things, we know, even harmful, even killing in our life. I'm sure small insects or something we can remember killing. But in the past lives, it said we've done virtually everything negative, countless times, including harming parents and, beings of very high karmic, import, being impertinent and harming even very holy beings and so forth. Quite apart from killing, sexual misconduct, and then stealing and lying and all the rest of it. We've done it all. So this leaves a big karmic trace on consciousness, and if not purified, it will ripen a suffering at some point. So we need to acknowledge in a healthy way, with regret, not with guilt, but with regret, and the wish to do something about it. So this line just reminds us of that, to confess all those offenses, together with the thought that as much as possible, I'll refrain from them in the future. All actions that are the cause of suffering. Because they will interfere, you see, with all of the three great purposes. We won't even have then a good human rebirth if we keep on engaging in non-virtue and don't purify previously accumulated negative karma. So we sincerely confess before the gurus and our the holy beings, before Tara. Then the next one, very important, the rejoicing limb, where it says, I rejoice in all virtuous actions of holy and ordinary beings. This is a very extensive practice that Rinpoche always emphasized. It's a way of quickly accumulating a lot of positive energy in our mind. So here, first, we rejoice in all of the good things that we have done. We shouldn't think we haven't done anything good. We've all done something. Can be very small things. But remembering them, we can rejoice. And if you can't remember anything, remember the fact that you have bothered to take part in this Tara practice. So this is something virtuous, you see. So at least we can rejoice in that, thinking how wonderful it is. It's wonderful because it creates the cause for happiness and many other qualities, sublime happiness even. So think how wonderful it is. Really think that. It's really good. A very kind of factual and no-nonsense self-congratulation, but in a very good way, based on understanding karma. So how wonderful it is. Okay. And then think of your friends and others, especially people who may be practicing a lot more than you, doing a lot of good for others. So rather than feeling small or envious, rejoice in that. How wonderful it is that this person or persons are doing such amazing things. How wonderful it is. Really rejoice. Envy and jealousy, totally useless emotions. And then think of the great practitioners and think of your teachers and people you've read about or heard about. And doesn't have to just be Buddhist practitioners, beings from other traditions as well, who genuinely, helping others and practicing in a very powerful way, creating causes of happiness. Remembering them, but especially one's teachers, that's the most virtuous. Think how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Their extraordinary practice, their work for others. Okay, good. Then the last three limbs, we request the gurus and Buddhas to please remain until samsara ends. This is very important. We need to be continually guided, you see, by holy beings. And then we request them not only to stay, but of course to teach, to turn the wheel of the Dharma. Turn the wheel of the Dharma for sentient beings. You know, they have to stay and teach, remain and teach, guide us. That's their job. That's their job description. But we have to request it. Otherwise, we don't show interest. The beings don't. They're not. It doesn't create the cause for them to teach. So we have to request. Those who have received teachings from the great lamas and others, we know how important it is and how inspiring and useful it is. Okay, and then here we dedicate. There's not the end of the puja, of course, but even here we dedicate as seventh of the 7 limbs. We dedicate any positive energy from what we have just thought about and practiced. Any virtue from these 6 previous limbs we dedicate to the our full enlightenment, the completion of the paths of method and wisdom, so that we become fully qualified Buddhas. Okay, then mandala offering we can just dispense with quickly. It's a way of offering the visualizing a purified universe, very beautiful visualized universe, in order to create again the cause for it's a way to create a tremendous amount of positive energy, merit, so that we ourselves can experience very beautiful, pure environments in the future. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun, and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of my attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, and strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments, without any sense of loss, I offer this collection. Please accept it with pleasure and bless me with freedom from the 3 poisonous attitudes. 3 poisonous minds: ignorance, attachment, and anger. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayame. Okay, now the section on purification. So as well as we can, we just try to visualize. If it's difficult, don't worry. Just imagine that Tara is there and this is happening. So visualize Tara again, of course, above the crown of our heads. So first we request her to please purify all the obscurations or non-virtues of my body, so that my body becomes one, in essence, with Guru Tara's holy Vajra body. So now imagine that from the white seed syllable Om at Aryatara's brow, much light emanates. Light, and Rinpoche would emphasize also nectar. Light and nectar emanates and curves in an arc and then enters into my forehead, into my brow. And then feel one's body then becomes completely filled with this light and nectar, completely purified of all obscurations. Feel, all of the bodily impurities and all bodily karma is expelled from the body in the form of dirt and dirty liquid and everything. One can visualize that, and that is being very blissful and one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra body. Vajra here referring to an adamantine, very diamond-like, lasting, indestructible quality of the Buddha body. It's indestructible. So feel one's own body becomes like that. So visualize this white light and nectar. Totally purifying us. Then we request the purification of the speech. Please bless me to purify all obscurations of my speech so that it will become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. So now visualize red light and nectar emanating from the red A syllable at Arya Tara's throat, curving in an arc to enter one's throat. Then one's speech is purified completely of all obscurations, becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. So again, this great blissful light and nectar filling our body, and especially the throat, and speech becoming like Vajra speech, which has many, many excellent qualities, and thereby able to guide and influence living beings with our speech. Feel all the impurities are being washed away, all verbal negativity of the four kinds: lying, harsh speech, divisive speech, and idle gossip. All of that kind of imprints of that kind of speech completely purified, washed away. The speech is purified completely of all obscurations, becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. Then we request purification of the mind. Please bless me to purify all the obscurations of my mind so that it will become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra mind. So now imagine very blissful blue light and nectar emanating from the blue Hung at Arya Tara's heart, and it's curving in an arc to enter one's own heart. Feel one's mind is purified of all obscurations, becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra mind. So again, the blissful light and nectar pervading one's body, and feel that especially the mind is becoming completely purified of especially the hostility, covetousness, and wrong views, ignorance, anger, attachment, and so forth, which is the cause of all misery. Okay. Then there's one more purification, because we also need to purify the most subtle karmic obscurations which prevent us from becoming an all-knowing Buddha. So now we imagine the three colored beams are emanating simultaneously from the white Om, the red A, the blue Hung syllables, curving in an arc, entering one's three places, the forehead, the throat, and the heart, all together, completely purifying all my delusions and even the subtle obscurations to omniscience. So my body, speech, and mind become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. So tremendous blissful light from the three places, light and nectar, totally getting rid of any obstacles to what is called obstacles to becoming a all-knowing Buddha. Means all of the subtle ignorance, the duality that we invest in, all of that completely purified. The mind becomes completely open, vast, spacious, like the mind of a Buddha. Then you can visualize that your Guru, if you visualize the Guru, otherwise just Aryatara melts into green light. The green light flows into me, blissfully through the crown of one's head. Instantly feel one's wrong conceptions that I and all other phenomena are independently, inherently existent. All of that, together with my dualistic mind and its views, disappear, becoming completely empty. Not even a trace of them remains. So one concentrates one pointedly in this empty state with the wisdom that is indistinguishably one with Guru Tara's blissful omniscient mind. So if you've received teachings on emptiness and so forth, then you can focus on that. But there's this sense of non-duality, of total oneness with the mind of Aryatara, which is very vast, spacious, like space, free of all conceptuality, any kind of thinking or thought. Then imagine that out of that spacious, empty state, one's wisdom manifests instantly in the form of Aryatara's holy body, seated upon a lotus and moon cushion. At my heart is also another lotus and moon seat, upon which in the center stands the green seed syllable Tam, surrounded by the syllables of the mantra in a clockwise direction, Om Taretu Taretu Swaha. The Tam and the mantra, one should see them as manifestations of Guru Tara's holy mind, with which one's own mind is totally united. We imagine, as we are going to recite the mantra, we also imagine that green light is radiating from all the letters of the mantra, spreading in every direction, purifying the negative karma, gross delusions, and the subtle obscurations to omniscience of all sentient beings. who then transform into Tara. All the beings transform into Tara, you see. And you especially think also, of course, now of the people you are praying for, dedicating for, while we do this practice. Then we also, towards the end of the recitation of the mantra, and the mantra we will recite out loud 21 times, and then silently under our breath for a few minutes. So at that time, towards the end of that, we also can imagine that this light has gone out, yeah, and has manifested offerings to all of the, eye, ear, nose, tongue, touch, and mental consciousness of all the holy beings who have become Tara and who receive it with this uncontaminated mind, yeah. And then the light, you see, imagine these enlightened beings are very happy, very pleased, and then in return, they shower down in the form of light the superlative qualities of Buddha Tara's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind, which are omniscient wisdom, supreme power, infinite compassion. So this all we imagine is absorbing into us in the form of light rays, blissful light rays and nectar, yeah, very blissful. So as we recite the mantra, we absorb and are blessed by this rain, okay? So recite the mantra out loud 21 times, and then silently we can recite it, remembering whatever we can of the visualization, especially focusing on the people we are praying for, whoever, and if imagines reaching also to all sentient beings. Om Tare Tutare Tire Soha. 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 tare ture so. Tare tare. Tare tare. Tare. Tare tare. Tare to tare ture so. Now in the text, online text, and we have the dedication also, but we'll dedicate after we have done 3 recitations of the 21 praises to Tara, which is a very important practice. Those who have time later, you should read about the benefits, explanation of the mantra, and how Tara is connected with dispelling fears and so forth. But we shall now recite. I'll be reciting it in Tibetan together with Ajirji and whoever else knows. I would suggest for beginners who can't recite the Tibetan, you slowly go through the English so that you know what is being said, and you visualize, of course, visualize much light coming from Tara. You can imagine after each verse that a replica of Tara is absorbing into you. You can imagine that the light is going out and purifying the problems of the people you are praying for. All of this you can do with the as we recite these praises. So we'll go 3 times. First, we can recite the first part in English, the invocation and the prostration we can recite in English. And then we will go through the praises 3 times from where it says, "Oh, I prostrate to the noble transcendent liberator." Just you can familiarize yourself with some of the words. 21 taras. Of course, there's very elaborate teachings on this. The function, the inner, the manifest function, the secret function of each of these taras, their color, what they're holding, what they symbolize. They each actually have a slightly different mantra, but it's all encompassed within the main mantra, Om Taritu Taritu Swaha. For example, the 20th tara is connected with dispelling epidemics and diseases like that. You can see in that the 20th tara, she whose 2 eyes bright with radiance of sun and full moon. This is the penultimate tara on page bottom of page 22. She whose 2 eyes bright with radiance of sun and full moon, with twice hara and totare, she dispels severe contagion. So she's the tara which is specifically used for dispelling epidemic diseases and so forth. So there's very deep practice in the tradition. Each of these taras has a special function. So while we're doing it, we can just feel that we are getting the benefits, all kinds of inner and outer benefits, and freedom from fear, especially freedom from fear, which is a very basic emotion that prevents us from developing our good qualities and being able to practice the path. We are crippled by fears and anxieties and so on and so forth. So tara is one of the paramount practices for dispelling fear and anxiety and so forth. Sorry if people are getting tired. I hope you're all okay. So, everyone all right? You don't have a text? Some people don't have a text. You have a text? Yeah. You have. Okay, so the invocation. And then the invocation in our text is on page 15 of this booklet. Online, it's page 17. To imagine Tara. From your sublime abode at the Potala, O Tara, born from the green letter Tam, your crown adorned with Amitabha, action mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times, Tara, please come with your attendants. Now, Tara here comes from the Potala, which is associated with Avalokiteshvara, Buddha of compassion. Yeah, and of course, the 5th Dalai Lama built the Potala in Lhasa. They're connected with Avalokiteshvara. But the story goes, and the myth, which has great profound meaning, Tara was actually born from, in this sense, from the tears of Avalokiteshvara, who became very discouraged when he realized that he couldn't help people as much as he wanted. So he started crying, and then Tara emerged from his tears and said, "Don't worry, I will help you. I'll help you to benefit sentient beings in a very powerful way." So anyway, there's this connection between Tara and Avalokiteshvara and the Potala here, which is usually connected with Avalokiteshvara. The gods and demigods bow to your lotus feet, O Tara, you who rescue all who are destitute. To you, Mother Tara, I pay homage. So Ajirji and I will recite that prostration verse 3 more times in Tibetan, and then get on with the praises in Tibetan, which we'll do 3 times right through. So you please feel free to meditate, look at some of the, focus on the English. It might be a bit much to keep up with us with the Tibetan. There is an English chantable version. There's a literal English translation, and there's a chantable version in the booklet you have, but not the online one. So if you have the booklet with you, I believe there's a chantable version where you can chant it roughly according to the tune that we are going through. Yeah, English version for chanting, page 24 in your booklet, but I'm afraid it's not there online, but never mind. Okay. So please, yeah, whatever is useful for you, you please do that. And visualize tremendous amount of spiritual energy and light and so forth is coming from the Taras, blessing you, blessing us and the people we're praying for, especially. Yeah. La 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 minche pengi shaki pe mola tu de pompa con le do de ma do ma yum la cha ze lo do la minche pengi shaki pe mola tu de pompa con le do de ma do ma yum la cha ze lo do la minche pengi shaki pe mola tu de pompa con le do de ma do ma yum la cha ze lo. Om Jetsu Ma Pamadoma La Cha Se Lo. Cha Se Doma Nyuma Pa Ma Cheni Ke Che Lo Dan Da Ma Chi Ten De Ke Chi Ke Che Ke So Che Wa Le Ni Jo Ma Cha Se De De Wa Ken Te Ka Wa Kyan Ni Se Pe Shel Ma Kama To Pa To Pa Nam Ki Rab Tu Che We Ara Bara Ma Cha Se De Nye Che Nye Ki Pe Me Che Ni Na Pra Kya Ma Jimbo so so ka de ji wa de pa sam ten che yo nya ma cha se de xin je pe do to ta ye na pra ke wa che ma lu pa ro chi pa to pe ke wa se ki chen to te ma cha se do ta ra hong yi ge do dan cha dan nang ka ga ma ji den do ke je ki nen te lu pa me pa ke pa ni ma cha se kya che me la som pa lo na na ze wan ji che ma Jomboro la di sanam da ne jinje ki de ne te ma chaze ta de ta tam pe ki paro to korab du joma ye ken yen ken jaki nente me pato prasento barama chaze to re ji pa jembo de ki pa on pra joma jege de ne do ne dense adawa dam joma lisema chaze da de don cha kya to kranam pa kyama Malucho ki korlo giembe, rangi yoki sanam ma Choser up de kawaji pe, yogina ki denwa pelma, sheper up sheto taraye, do danji denwan do tsama, jaze do de do don zonam, donje gu banyu mani ma, tonye jo e hige wangi, pomba damje nambrado ma, jaze dawe dimbi ige, Kemadam jindu para mare pekana apamel. Tovrajindu arabze ama jase tame tame meta bawe tingwe nane ama. Yekenye kekene Dailo nena praja ma jade da jinya la chage dege no jinja ki dom toje zenze ige wanke ripa do panani ge ma jose de ma ge ma ji ma nyanen de ji cho yo nyama soho ya da la dembe de pa chemba jomba nyama jase kone karab gawe dailo nena praja ma Yeke chape nani ke pe ripa ole domanya ma jole dore doni da pe honge na be zobanya ma rira mandara dambe je jite do yo nyama chose lai soi nam pe rita tate chana nama tara nijo pe ki yeke duna malu pani selma Jose loi sonam gelpo lodomi ochi tema kune gocha gawa ji ki sodomi lo nyumbo selma Jose nima deve kia pe jeni pola rab selma hara nijo tutarai didu didu dimne selma Jose deni zenem ki pe jive doda yandam de amma Dodarola no jeso no nomba tore rabjonyama soe nakita padida chose wani neso sa Om Jetso Ma Pamadoma La Cha Se Lo Jose Doma Nyuma Pa Mo Jenny Keji Lo Nandama Chiten de Keji Keji Kesa Jewa Leni Joma Jose Gawe Dava Kinti Gawa Gyani Se Peshel Ma Kama Topa Sopanam Ki Raptu Chewi Yora Barama Jose Jenny Jenny Ki Peme Cheni Napragya Ma Jimpa Sotu Kato Jiwa Sopa Samten Joyonya Ma Jose Dejin Jepeso Taino para que wache ma malu paro chi pato pe que wa seki chinto tem chase tutara hung yi ge dodon jodon nong kaga ma jiten de ge jaginente lupa me pa gu pa ni ma chase kya je me la sambo lo no no su wan chu chi Jambaro la di sanam da no jin je ki de ne te ma chase chase tadam pe ki paro to koram de jama Yekenyekenjakinente me pato pracento barama chate tureji pachempo tuki pao nambrajo ma chiki dene dene denze dao tamche malisema chate ke jo ke asomo tokranam pakyama malu choki korlo giempe rangi yoki sanam tuma chate rabdi gawaji pe ogene kiten wapelma shepe rabshe tutaraye dudanji ten wanzu zema Chase chase jawe zo nam tamche kyupa nyuma nyama tonye yui ge oan ki pomba tamche nambra do ma chase dewe dimbi ige kemba tamche chintu baro ma repe ko nama pamele tabra chintu arabze ama chase kame tame meta bawe chengwe yonane ama Yeken yeke kene ke dai puni nambra joma Chause jaji nyola cha ke a de de no jin ja ke doma tone jen je ke on ki re pa do bona ni ke ama chause de ma ke ma ji ma nyo ne de je yo yo nyama so yo don don dem be de pa jen ba jen ba nyama chause kene ke re ga ve dai puni nambra ke am Ye che già nani che per i pa me domani ama già se tore zani da pe oge da bisa beni ama rida mandara dambi je di dendo yo ni ama già se la iso in nambe rida ta che chana nama tarani jo pe ki ye ge dana malu pani salma già se la iso nam ge po la da mi a ti e tema Kune gacha gawa ji ki soda mi lam nyen pa selma chode ne adawa gya pe cheni palo rab selma hara ni jo tu tarai chindu da purim ne selma chode deni sanem ki pe jivi do do yandam dema todaro la do je so no jompa tore rab junyama sawe na ki tapadida Chase wani ne so sa yi. Onje tsu ma pa ma do ma la cha se lo. Chale do ma nyu ma pa mo che ni ke che la nan da ma ji den ji ki che ki. Ke sa je wa le ni jo ma cha de ka da wa kin tu. Ka wa gya ni se pe chel ma. Kama topa sopa nam ki ratu chewe rabbarama chase dine ki peme chani nambragya ma zima zuzu kade jiwa sopa samten choyo nyama chase de shinje besuto saye nambragya wachuma malu paru chipato pe ke waseki shinto tema chase tutara hongi ke duda joda lanka gama Jidendo che jaginende lupa me pagi panyema Jase kya che me la sambo lolo lo suwan jitema Jembara la di sa nam do nyujin se gitene tema Jase ra de pek Paro toko rabdu joma yekin yekin jaginende me patu pracento barama Chale ture ji pa chempo duki pa on prajoma cheke done denze dawa chamji mali sema chase kunje sudo jogi sumo tokara nampa gyama malu choki korlo gyembe rangi yaki sonam tuma chase rabdu gawa jipe okena ki wapelma Chepe Rapchi Tutarai, Dudani de Wando Tama, Jose Sawe Kawedo, Tanye Givenu Manyama, Tanye Geonke, Pombo Damje Nabradoma, Jose Devin Dimbi Ugen, Gemba Damje Tintu Barama, Repekana Apamele, Tabrejindu Rabzema, Jose Kameta Meta, Baweting Rayona Neama, Yekin Kanekuki, Dai Puni Nambra Joma, Jose Tune Nula Jagi, Togi no Jinjagi Doma, Tone Jinze Ige Oinki, Ipa Dobonani Gama, Jade Demagima Jima, Nyanende Jinyu So Deba Jemba Jumba Nyama, Chade Kuni Garagavi, Dailuni Namragam, Yige Jabenani Kepi, Ribale Domanyama, Chade Tureza Nidape, Hongena Bezobanyam, Rira Mandara Dambeje, Jidenjo Yolo Nyama, Chade Lai Soi Nampe, Rira Taje Chananam, Tarani jo peki ge dunamali pani salma chazela esangyalpo lodo mi ochi etem kune gaja gawaji ki soda milanyam basal chazeni madawa gyape cheni polo robsal Harani jotto tarai, cindu da podine selma, chaze deni sinem kipi, jive do da yadam dema, do 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 jesonam, jamba tore jabjunima, sawe nakita padida, chaze wane ne so saoshi. Then there's a one verse abbreviated prayer to all of the Taras by the great Atisha on page 23. Oh, my prostrate to the goddess, foe destroyer, liberating Lady Tara, homage to Tare, savioress, heroine, with Totare, dispelling all fears, granting all benefits, with Ture, to her with the sound Svaha, I bow down. At this point, we can remember also that it was dedicated for. Also, please dedicate for Tushita sponsors, especially Mr. Ranjit Walia and Mr. Sanjay Manaktala, who have been our regular helpers, sponsors for many, many years. Due to their kindness, we continue. And also dedicate for the well-being of our director, Dr. Anuka Singh, who's been director for over a quarter century. Please dedicate also for, we are hoping His Holiness the Dalai Lama will accept, give us a date for giving a teaching in Delhi, organized by Tushita. Not here, of course, but in a big hall somewhere. So for that to happen in early December, probably. So then there's that, there's a short dedication for the Tara practice, which it's on the in the online version. It's on page 11, and in our text here, page 8. May I quickly become Guru Aryatara and lead each and every sentient being into her enlightened realm because of these merits. May the Supreme Jewel, Bodhichitta, It's not arisen, arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Now, we don't, online people haven't got it, but we can recite from the 8 prayers booklet, 8 prayers to benefit the dead, the Maitreya mantra on page 44, page 44, for auspiciousness, to create the connection with Maitreya Buddha. The statue here is Maitreya Buddha, the main statue, was to be guided by Maitreya in future lives, when he's said to be the next major Buddha, world teacher Buddha. Anyway, and also please dedicate strongly for the success of the project in Bodh Gaya, His Holiness, this project, the Nalanda Institute there of Buddhist Studies, as well as the Maitreya project in Kushinagar, which we are hoping will soon begin to be really put into, constructed and bring all the benefits that Rinpoche and Lama Yeshe wished for from that project in Kushinagar, where Buddha passed away. So bottom of page 44, we'll go through the mantra and the 2 mantras on page 45 3 times. And then we'll almost be at the end. Namo Ratnatrayaya, Namo Bhagavate Shakyamunaya, Tathagataya, Arate Samyak Sambuddhaya, Toyata Om Ajite Ajite, Aparajite Ajitanchaya Hara Hara Maitri, Avalokite Kara Kara Mahasamaya Siddhi Bara Bara, Mahabodhi Menda Vijaya Smara Smara, Adnakam Samaya Bodhi Bodhi Mahabodhi Swaha. Om Moi Moi Maha Moi Swaha. Om Muni Muni Smara Swaha. Namo Ratnatrayaya, Namo Bhagavate Shakyamunaya, Tathagataya, Arate Samyak Sambuddhaya, Toyoto Ajite Ajite, Aparajite Ajitanchaya Hara Hara Maitri, Avalokite Kara Kara Mahasamaya Siddhi Bara Bara Mahabodhi Menda Smara Smara Atmakam Samaya Bodhi Bodhi Mahabodhi Swaha. Om Moi Moi Maha Moi Swaha. Om Muni Muni Smara Swaha. Namo Ratnatrayaya, Namo Bhagavate Shakyamunaya, Tathagataya, Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya, Toyota Om Ajite Ajite Aparajite, Ajitanchaya Hara Hara Maitri, Avalokite Kara Kara, Mahasamaya Siddhi Bara Bara, Mahabodhi Menda Vijaya Smara Smara, Atmakam Samaya Bodhi Bodhi Mahabodhi Swaha. Om Moi Moi Maha Moi Swaha. Om Muni Muni Smara Swaha. Please dedicate for the long lives of all the holy teachers. We may never be separated from them, life to life. May never be separated from the holy Dharma. And like in Shantideva's prayer, may we abide until samsara ends, until space endures, in order to be of benefit to others and dispel their misery. Then we can recite the short prayer for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. O Gangri Rawe Korwe Jingamde, Pendonde wa Mali Jungwene, Achere Ziwan Tenzing Yasoyi, Yabezite Bardo Tengyo. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you're the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezig Tenzing Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Then we have prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. We'll just recite the one by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I'm sorry you don't have it online right now. I'm sorry, we'll make sure you have that in the future. So there were several long life prayers. One by Kadrula, one by the great, Jado Rinpoche, the 11th Lelung Rinpoche. We'll recite the one, the short one from well, it's not that short. Good. It's by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, to whom Rinpoche was so close. And His Holiness was always very, very pleased with Rinpoche, always very happy. Okay. Peerless teacher, assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience. You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for mother living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves, bodhicitta of the children of victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. And then His Holiness the Dalai Lama explained that he composed this at the request of FPMT centers headed by a long serving attendant, Roger Kunsang, Venerable Roger Kunsang. Yeah. I composed it because of our special connection, exemplified, for instance, by the fact that when Rinpoche was with us, he would consult me on his projects, big or small. While it's devastating that Zopa Rinpoche has departed in this way, the most important thing is that when he was with us, he made the precious mind of enlightenment the foundation of his practice. And so, if his followers who have been left behind properly emulate the Guru's life, it is exactly that which will definitely fulfill Rinpoche's wishes. Therefore, keep this in mind, and from now on also make requests to the three jewels and earnest dedication prayers. So that exhortation to practice the great compassion, bodhicitta mind, which takes responsibility for the happiness of all beings and guides them to enlightenment. This is the practice that Lama Zopa Rinpoche totally embodied every second of his life. And that's what he would be most glad that we are practicing, benefiting others. And that will ensure, His Holiness is suggesting that will ensure a quick rebirth of the great Lama, of our Guru. Okay, so we have a few offerings. Can you bring a knife in the kitchen? So if someone could hand out the offerings, Sagar Bhai will bring a knife so the apples can be cut up into little pieces, and we can just enjoy whatever there is. And next time we'll plan a bit better and have more offerings and juices and so forth. But for now, we can make do with whatever. I hope for people online also, it was a little bit useful, the puja, and that we're able to dedicate for your loved ones. Thank you, all of you who stayed. Also, we dedicate, now that I see who's there, we dedicate also for the health of all of our dear friends who occasionally join us, Maya Joshi, and for Joya Roy and others who need to stay healthy and well and continue their good deeds for others. So, yeah, thank you for patiently staying, and sorry you can't join us literally with the food offerings. Yeah, good to see some people after a long time. I'll unmute you so you can say anything. Anyone online wants to say anything, most welcome. And of course, we also dedicate for our Mumbai Walas, Faridun Bhujwala and his mother, Yash Agarwal, Nandita, Nandita's health, Rita, Nilashi, Suman, Latta, Lavi, Neil, and everybody, Rita. Hello, I'm being lazy. Can some youngsters take all of this to the back? All of this has to be distributed. Yeah. Sorry, I got spaced out. We need a training camp for. Sorry, there are no plates. थोड़ा थोड़ा बस लोग के मेज पे डाल सकते हैं. क्या हो गया? Don't worry. Obviously, has a connection with Tara. It's okay. It won't harm us. Like I come all the way from Horsecast Monument. Is it a little bat? When you started talking about Lama Zopa, it just appeared. Very good. Could you make sure these people... यारो एक और सेव ले जाएंगे पीछे. Thanks. ऊपर गया गेट खुला हुआ है. Have you been before, sir? Excuse me? Have you been before? अरे कलसी जी, ओ तेरी कलसी क्या दिमाग खराब हो रहा है. You look like this venerable gentleman. माफ कीजिए, मैं तो अपने सपना में रहता हूँ, अपने बबल में. मैं जानता ही नहीं कर रहा है दोस्तों. Make sure before anyone has to go, you get some prasad. Hurry. आप बताइए आप कैसे? Can you just hand out what's ready? Please. और ये फूड प्रेयर पता नहीं, फूड प्रेयर होगा कबीर जी. हाँ फूड प्रेयर तो लोग खा रहे हैं ऑलरेडी. कबीर जी फूड ऑफरिंग प्रेयर नहीं करनी. नहीं. Extreme time, desperate times, desperate measures. Very हो रहा था. $5 million. कबीर जी क्या? मैं तो ये थोड़ा खेल जाएंगे. Thank you, Kabir ji. Oh.
सबसे पहले साल में खाया पता हल्का सा मैं सबको याद दिलाऊंगा क्या कि पहले स्कूल ऑपरेट कर तो गांव में था ना तुमसे मेरे से यही होता है लंच नहीं खाया होगा नहीं खाया कभी हाँ चीज़ की आदत में नहीं कौन तो होता है ना गुरु जी होने का गुरु को फॉलो करने का गुरु जी बन 790 Boss man, boss. India great. Next year. What May? What is that? All the way in my ये ले लो ये हटाओ ये समेटो ओल्ड ये पीछे जाएंगे के पीछे Thank you. That's good. How Sunday morning? Yes, Sunday morning.
ये कबीर वाला है ना? I think अभी रहने दे सकता है क्योंकि मेरा लैपटॉप भी निकालना तो शायद
Thanks for coming. You're coming from far off. Nearby. Oh, Vasant was very nice. Thanks. आपका भाई They already had that cafe. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. I speak. मैंने कहा हमारे ग्रामीण में गए कि ग्रामीण में गए तो अरे संडे को जा मैं आज वाला कोविड नहीं है तो मौसम वगैरह ठीक है आप पहली बार आए हैं लास्ट इट्स स्टिल रेनिंग
every other day it rains.
oh is it but like Himachal was very badly affected
Was had a problem, but like yes, it's for the
I don't know you are still going to that really see the rail car Senda was done by the British not long time ago and no we have a class here also there is another sort of class is happening almost about 50 million and I think it's remember 45 project of buildings no case of any landslide no problems this culture is unique if you go to that in fact I really they said it's the radial here there's no radial where you find 100 feet and almost 50 bridges and 45 turnings because otherwise the railway are safe. No landslide nothing. लेकिन जितना नीचे नया बन रहा है आजकल रोड ये हो
because they don't know proper study.
they don't
we need to reach a survey for all.
then what is really happening is that even if the impact of the economy of any project is done there's a certain fund given, to rebuild somewhere else. But that money is never utilized. It's all sat on other people. In fact, I think the hills, I really find there's no point in having tunneling. And
these hills, these are such young mountains. They can't take this.
See, they are making tunnels like our villages are on the hill slopes.
Yeah.
So here they're digging tunnels. Now it's actually taking away our water supply. It's affecting our water supply.
It will definitely affect the what is really happening. Like if water
Those paras, those
Yeah.
springs,
exactly they will disappear.
never tried till now. They suddenly right now.
After some time, you will find that I have noticed in Himachal also, even the crop pattern also will change because the plants which really requires water, they dry. So the plants are there, but there's no fruiting taking place. Because they also require, right? Suppose if we grow the apple, I mean, what is there in the apple? There's a lot of water, the juice. But if it is not there, then what happens? It's only the street. I think it's a really changing.
No, it's like really affecting our crops and also.
Yeah.
Because it's.
Crops will change.
Normally during the cucumber season, so much cucumber, one tree will give like 100 million. This time, no cucumber.
What is cucumber?
Believe me when I say.
90% water. And along with that, even the birds, the insects, their
Yeah.
environment also will get changed.
Yeah.
मीटिंग खत्म कर देंगे
मीटिंग खत्म कर दें
हाँ मीटिंग करो यार कर दो कबीर जी शायद ऊपर गए ना
हाँ इसको एंड कर देते हैं